Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Happy Tuesday. Ooh, it's in my mouth. That sucks. Happy Tuesday. Fuck. Happy Tuesday. And well, it is Tuesday, right? Yeah, Tuesday. Welcome to Open Topic Tuesday. Sorry I was late. Just got done eating, and as you can see, I got a little bit on my cheek. So, how's everybody doing? I'm your host. We may have a co-host. Not sure. Never am. He may have wussed out. Let me see. He usually retweets the show when he's on his way. Did he? No far. Aaron retweeted it for me. Never fails. And something is wrong with StreamYard again, but it doesn't look like it's as bad as it used to be. Hold on for a second. I'm going to refresh because I can't see my panel. Be right back. All right. Let's see. There we go. Now I can see all my stuff. I think that's the light. It's the light. Something's on my face. Okay. Well, how's everybody doing? This is Open Topic. Hello, Aaron. Hello, Duck. Let's see. Still not live. All right. Well, this is Open Topic Tuesday. Open Topic Tuesday. This is where you guys pretty much bring the topics. This is my lazy show where I don't have to think much other than answering your questions. Yeah, I saw a little bit of that hearing, and I saw what you clipped me. I mean, I don't know how many times Ted Sarandos has to say that that he's going to adhere to the 45-day window, even though, to be honest with you, 45 days is a lot. I saw the comments he made about, certain movies having certain lengths. The Superman was bought up, but I didn't really pay too much. Hold on. I didn't pay too much attention to I didn't pay too much attention to what was going on because I had a lot of other stuff going on. Hold on, guys. Let's see here. As I do now. So, multitasking here. Okay. So fix this. I'll have to fix that later. Just the Netflix CEO, just the usual routine whenever you have a merger. The congressional, I forgot what committee it was. They do a hearing as part of the clearing process. Yeah, other than what you sent me, I don't. What else? What else, did anything notable go on with it, Aaron? All right, got a couple of things going on with the screen. Other. All right, cool. So the fixes. Netflix CEO confirmed that Superman was removed from theaters due to poor performance, and you know what? That's the of all the stuff that I'm pretty sure happened in that hearing. Why was that zeroed in as something that anybody should give a fuck about in February 3rd of 2026? We're talking about a major merger between Netflix and Warner Brothers. And I'm pretty sure, even without seeing the majority of the hearing, that there are more important things about that hearing than what the fuck James Gunn said or Superman, a movie that has been out of theaters for quite some time now. I hope that wasn't the gist of the hearing. You're talking about an 80 to 100 some odd $billion merger, and we're talking about a $600 million movie. That can't be relevant in a Senate hearing. By virtue of it, it is a Senate hearing. Was James Gunn there? Was he being questioned? Was David Cornsweet there? Was he being what? Yeah, I saw several people point this out, and even some people tagged me, and I'm curious about how is that relevant to the hearing today. Just curious. No, because I don't think they're going to need Donald Trump to get through regulations. So. I don't know. I was hoping it'll be He-Man, Masters of the Universe, but I haven't gotten any update on it. Yeah, those are the two main cogs of that committee that are going to ask questions. You're going to have the conservative one and Ted Cruz. You're going to have the liberal one, and those are pretty much everybody during these type of hearings. They will consolidate their questions. So instead of like 10 or 20 people wasting a lot of time, they'll consolidate the questions. So you probably heard primarily from those two. I'm pretty sure I could probably pull it up on C-SPAN, but once again, this is a Senate hearing about an $84 billion plus merger. Who gives a fuck about James Gunn's Superman at that point? I'm pretty sure the other movies at Warner Brothers is that were major successes were coming up, but even still, the only thing I got about the hearing was that, and I'm like, are you people fucking kidding me? we're talking about a major shift in entertainment, and all you guys came away from that was fucking Superman. Not even a current movie, not an upcoming movie, not an upcoming series of movies, but a movie that's been in and out of theaters since July. I mean, and from what I saw, it was, you mentioned it as a matter of fact, like, you know, that movie wasn't going to make $1 billion. Anybody who thought it was sniffing lines up and down their table. I mean, 600, whatever it ended up making, was fine for that movie. From a destroyed universe, discredited universe with mismanagement, I mean, yeah. I see the square that says Brad. Let me see if the face goes with it. I don't trust StreamYard these days, and he's spinning. Okay, there you go. What's up? But yeah, I saw that alarming rate a bit good, but I guess it's Twitter. Probably and I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, but I would bet good money that the majority of you never watched a congressional or hearing before, or knew what you were watching when you did, or otherwise you wouldn't. Come on, seriously. I mean, bring me information about like legitimate structure questions that Ted Sarandos was asked, or profit and loss, or union questions, or thing. I mean, important shit. Tag me in that. You don't and ask me questions about that. That was like, you guys picked the most irrelevant thing in the hearing today. And if you were on Twitter, you would think that was like, oh my God, are we going to get a merger? Are we going to get a purchase? Oh no, Superman only made $600 million. That's going to be the doom of our $84 billion merger. Give two fucks about that. Be honest with you, I don't.
And gun stands are certainly losing their minds about it.
Yeah, neither one of you, not either side. Seriously, if you lost your mind about that, no matter what end of this you're on, it's time to expand your hobbies or get one. That's just fucking dumb. You got the CEO of Netflix, who's co-CEO of Netflix, answering questions about, you know, all these fears that people were having about this and that, or they're going to destroy the theaters, and that was the highlight of the day for some of you. We really are taking strides back when it comes to fandom. But anyway, I didn't watch most of it because I had other things I was doing. I will probably, because it's on C-SPAN. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's archived on C-SPAN now, because if it happened earlier this morning, usually they have that shit up there by 2 or 3 o'clock. So I'm going to go and I'll get a chance. And yeah, it's on C-SPAN. I'm going to watch the hearing, since I'm not going to get anything relevant from my social media. So I'll watch the hearing myself and I'll come to my own conclusions about like shit that was important from it. But it was a standard hearing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing they all went through. They asked their questions. They had their questions ready. Most of the questions were generic. Some of them were repeated, and nothing new came out of it. The biggest thing that I saw that came out of it, I mean, the actual was real news, was his dedication to the 45-day window, and he said it under oath. So I didn't see any issue with that. I'm trying to figure out now. Maybe people will believe him instead of spreading all this fear and shit that he's, you know, he's going to crash the cinemas. I'm like, come on, dude.
They won't.
And I've already explained why it will be stupid for them to do all the stuff that people are afraid of. But I guess, like I said, fear gets clicks. So me personally, if I'd been sitting on that stand, I'm like, I'm sorry, Senator, you want 45? How about 30? How about 30? 82% of your revenue is made the first 2 weeks. Why the fuck am I keeping it around just to placate your nostalgia with what box office used to be? No. We need to get more new movies into your box office screen and you only got what 18 screens. I don't know if Brad froze or hold on. I gotta make sure that we're still on because Brad is just spinning right now. Okay, it's just Brad. All right. Yeah, I'll go ahead and give it a watch and watch it in detail. But yeah, 30 day window to me was fine. 30 day window is me because you're talking about at weeks 3 and 4, you're talking about diminishing returns. So let's see. All right, so Brad is gone. Yeah, Supergirl comes out in June. Superman Man of Tomorrow comes out in 2027. No, important is important. The important is what you're there to talk about. To answer serious questions, not fanboy questions. Serious questions about what this is going to do for the industry. I mean, sometimes, I mean, depending on what they're, I'm a political head. I love politics, so I routinely watch C-SPAN. That's one way to think about it, but if whether they're entertaining or not is the end product. That's the end product, and that's fine. But I don't fault anybody for not caring about the process of it, because if you don't understand the process of it, a lot of times you don't understand why stuff gets made or doesn't get made, or why why things close down, why things go out of business. I mean, there's a reasoning to it. Yeah, we talked about this last night. Have you seen where it's rumored to live here? Yeah, Helen of Troy. Yeah, I haven't seen it confirmed anywhere, even though somebody told me it was listed. She's on the cast list, which is fine with me. Academy Award level, Academy Award winning actress who's been good in just about everything I've seen her in. I have no problem with the casting of that one. Okay, are you?
Yeah, I just wish.
Okay, no, I have no problem with the casting of that one. I mean, I know other
Elon
people
does.
Well, I mean, he's not relevant as far as like he's not making the movie, and he has some questionable points of view when it comes to other things that kind of make his opinion about those things irrelevant. And I'll just leave it at that. Okay, but they're not going to give two flat fucks during a Senate hearing about that. That's not what they were there to answer. That wasn't the subject of the Senate hearing. That's the subject of a YouTube show. That's the subject of a fanboy get together. That's not the main crux of no movie in particular was. I mean, he was just using it as an example. That's all he was doing. He could have picked any couple of movies. There's been a couple of movies out there that probably had their windows adjusted. And the bottom line, if you were just listening to what the question and the answer was yes, we are committed to a 45-day window. However, we reserve the right to adjust that window, which is fine, which is appropriate. You should not keep a movie in the box office, no matter what the movie is, if it's not dry, if it's diminishing returns, and you got other movies to put in there, do that. But I mean, I don't know why he pulled Superman out of his ass. I don't know. He's not even in charge of that particular company yet. So, but other than that, I didn't see it as relevant, as far as what the hearing was about, what the decisions coming from that hearing could mean. So yeah, like I said, you can't be watching C-SPAN with fanboy logic, man. You'll hurt your fucking head. Let's see. I don't do tea. I don't do TM. This is not. We don't. I'm not TMZ. I don't. If there's
I'm not
something to
above
talk
T.
about,
I'm definitely not above
I am.
T.
I am. If you guys will listen, this if there's plenty of platforms that do that. I'm not TMZ. I don't do sleaze. If there's something to talk about, trust me. Have I ever failed you in finding the conversation and something that's a legitimate topic? I mean, I know it's open topic, but do I have to add let's sleaze it up too? I don't think there's enough room on my screen for that. You know, open topic means a topic, not sleaze. And T, listen, you could close your eyes. You can stop bringing that up. You could close your eyes and click on anything on your screen, and you're probably going to come up with sleaze. And listen,
I mean, if you give my kind of 2 cents on it real quick. I mean, just kind of watching the discourse on it today. I mean, and again, this is me like going on how much like
which once again the discourse
lost their minds over it. I mean, listen,
the discourse embarrassing.
They're so centered on the idea that Snyder fans are like throwing or popping champagne over this. And it's like, look, you know, if we're the minority that you constantly try to portray us as, then it doesn't matter like how wherever our stance is on this. Like if the movie made $5 and they're happy with it, they're gonna continue more. It's like you guys clearly feel threatened by this.
Yeah, but what place do they have on the Sci-Fi Center Presents?
It's the topic we're in hand.
None.
I'm just addressing the question. I mean, this is my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look for bullshit, you'll find it. If you get on your all fours, and sniff for bullshit, you'll find it. I just don't want to make it easy and just have it here. I mean, you have millions of YouTubers who obsessed over that today. And it took all of 12 seconds for him to say that? That should not have been on my timeline. Not for those reasons. The 45-day window reason, fine. But that subtext of it, what?
By the way, the other thing I saw float around and kind of as an offshoot of that too was because it made mention that the exclusivity Superman had was like, when did it go to digital? Like 30 days or 35 days after theaters, and like the reason on paper was because they ostensibly like wanted to have it on digital, have it on HBO Max like before Peacemaker season 2 started, or just like, okay, I mean, if you want to buy that spin, go ahead. I mean,
I told you that was going to be on digital before the movie was released. What did I can go back and rewind. I can go back and look at some of our shows going into that. I'm pretty sure I can find where before Superman was even released, before we even got the dates for our pre-screening, how long did I say it was going to be before that's on digital? And it had nothing to do with how much it made in the cinema. That's where they wanted it. That's where they wanted it on digital. Anybody could say anything that they want, but if you look at the pattern of when they get these things to digital, especially the more attractive things, after a certain amount of times, 35 days is enough. That's why when they tell me, 45 days, you don't give a 45 days for if you own the IP and you're trying to make your money back, I see no reason. 35, you should be having it on digits. And I always said that movie was going to be on digits. So whatever reason anybody was trying to celebrate for or against, that is where Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers Pictures wanted that, because that's where they make the lion's share of their money. They don't have to give a cut to the box office. Most of these guys are in bed with these PVODs, so that's where they wanted it. I mean, and it had nothing to do with anything else other than because what about every other movie that's made decent money that's ended up on a PVOD format, 35 days, less than 40 before they're on? There are movies that had those dates established before those movies got released, because they knew whatever money that they were going to make, for the most part, is going to come within that first window, and that's it. I don't see why people read so much into that. It's just that's what they've been doing. They want to get these things. They want to fast track to streaming, and then whatever screen that they opened up, guess what? Trust me, Warner Brothers had another movie coming in, and that's what's going to continue to be the case. And if a movie's not doing well, but how well did Superman need to do to stay in the theaters that much more? It wasn't going to make that much more money. It had hit its wall. Everybody who was going to want to see that movie saw it during that first block, and that was it. Look at Oh, Faces of Death. I used to watch that shit when I was a kid till I found out half of it was fake. Let's see. Are you frozen again?
No, I just turn off the computer, turn off the camera for a second. I'll be back on in a minute.
Oh, okay. Because I gotta ask, especially with StreamYard shenanigans lately. Let's see. That's fine. Fourth, that's an option. That's an option. That's like saying there's two pizzas in front of you, and one of them has pineapples, which is disgusting, and the other one doesn't. If my show is the one without the pineapples, okay, you have the option of eating the pineapple one. That's just not going to be any pineapples on this pizza.
The lame pizza, then.
Hey, listen, you have options. All right, no, we're not playing the Faces of Death. He didn't really word it that way. I mean, like I said, and this is what happens when you get fanboys involved in C-SPAN. It's like, it's not always the best thing. And even still, if I'm watching C-SPAN about this hearing, I think the last thing on my mind is that I think the merger itself and the results of the merger and the reverberating effects of the merger are probably going to be far more important than somebody's perception of how good or bad Superman did back in July. I'm in fucking February, headed into 2026 or in 2026, where the merger itself should be top of mind and what goes on after that. So yeah. Oh, under oath means everything. Under oath means if you're sitting in front of Congress or the Senate, under oath is everything.
If you're asked like, what is the sky blue, and you say, you can get in trouble for giving.
What he said is binding, is binding to a point, because if he were to go against that immediately and it is perceived that he said that in bad faith, it's lying to Congress, for one. And two, you open yourself up to a lot of litigation, because not only did you just lie to Congress, which is
when you're trying to get a merger through,
but you're doing so. You're now, your merger was built on false pretenses. You open yourself up to major. So what he said wasn't an opinion. That's testimony. Everything he's saying doing that, especially within the context of what he said, and that part I did see, that's not an opinion. That's a testimony. He's technically bound by that, but he left himself an out as far as the out that he should have left himself, which is if the movie's not doing well one way or another,
or if it's doing really well, we can fluctuate the 45-day window.
I don't think he should have brought up examples, because different movies have different goals. So when you're talking about Sinners, what was your goal for Sinners at 85, 90 million? What were your expectations versus what were your expectations? See, in order to bring those things to the forefront, you would have to testify to what the expectations were in order for me to read anything into that, other than you pulling two names out of your ass just because you're in front of Congress. Well, you really shouldn't have gone with any examples.
I think he also used those examples specifically because they were like two of the most high-profile Warner Brothers movies from last year.
Yeah, and that's fine, but he would have been better off just not using any examples, because the examples are out of context. What are the goals? What are the goals? And if I'm Senator Brooker, I ask him, okay, how are you determining what's up or down here? Are you determining what's up or down based on a bottom line? Forget about profit and loss number, or are we talking about how much you spent versus how much you got back? Because that would be the next question if that actually mattered. But you wouldn't ask that question because those examples were not relevant to the overall crux of the murder, which you were there to talk about. So that was not probably the most important comment of the day. Like I said, I saw the one that he said when it came to the 45-day window on its own was enough right there. because there's a lot of people that are waiting to move, a lot of unions and a lot of SGA and all that. They're using that as the basis to resist this merger. And that should have shut that portion of it down. That and common sense. And like, what does it say? Follow the money. Follow the money. It makes no sense for him to do that because he's cutting out revenue that you're buying the company to make extra revenue for. It just doesn't make any sense. It sounds good in the chat room. It sounds good on a headline. Netflix kills the cinema. But when you actually sit back and think about it, it doesn't make any sense at all. Type 15. Nah, I'm not. You listen. You got better people at that shit. Grace Randolph. You want that kind of stuff? Grace Randolph is. She's. If people like her, that there you go.
I also do like copy.
What's going on, Steven? How you doing?
Hey, Shrek.
Pineapple is nasty anywhere. I think there's no proper. The only proper application for pineapple is when you're tossing it in the trash. Preferably as soon as it's picked. So we all get duped when we found out 80% was staged. The world was facing. Yeah, and and another thing about Faces of Death is, listen, I'm a horror gore type of guy. Some of the stuff they do on that, fake or not, it's just in such poor taste, it's unwatchable for me. Like the monkeys and all that. I'm like, even real or not, I don't want to see that. Did you see the photos of the Beatles movie? I'm not a big fan of the Beatles. I am a fan of what they did for music. I respect what they did for music as far as like the time when they were at, but I'm not. I mean, and there are some Beatles songs that I think are pretty cool, but I'm not a Beatles fan. And those are the movies that they're going to release 4 of at the same time, right? Each member is going to have a movie and then get released at the same time. That's going to make a lot of money. I didn't see any pictures though. Just showed my daughter True Romance. Great movie. What's True Romance? Which one is that? The one? That's not. What is? Yeah, that sounds like William Repellent. I almost said True Lies. William, do you think it's a mistake that Spider-Man Avengers won't be shown during the Super Bowl? Is it too early? Not really. Now, when it was Superman last year, I said yeah, because you were launching a universe off of one that had fallen apart in years of not having any major movies. And I thought that it was important that they, if Fantastic Four was going to be on, near the Super Bowl week that Superman was, because Fantastic Four really didn't need to be. I don't think it's a huge deal for Spider-Man or Avengers at this point because they're Spider-Man and Avengers. They are not going to have any problem selling tickets to any of those. The commercial for Spider-Man, and there will be some, by the way. We just don't know when, but there will be trailers and there will be other stuff. But the commercial for Spider-Man and the Avengers franchise started in 2008 and it is ongoing. So you just need to know the date at this point. What's the exact date of these movies coming out? You know that, and I think they're going to do fine. However, that being said, they will be doing trailers of some sort. It's just that it's not the same situation as other franchises where you have to win them over or you have to make a case. The case has been made for Avengers movies. You're going to have a hard time getting seats for that. And Spider-Man, the last two, the last one being one of the better comic book movies ever made, I think they're going to be just fine. Now, if it was a DC movie, given DC's history, then I would be like I said last year, and people were dogging me. Everywhere Fantastic Four was, Superman needed to be there. I don't care what the end result was. It is getting people into the habit of thinking of your product positively and getting in that rhythm. So when it's time for the movie to hit, you've got people in that rhythm. But, and maybe that would have affected their box office one way or another. I don't know. But with Spider-Man and Spider-Man and Avengers Doomsday, nah. I don't think it's a mistake at all. That being, I still think you're going to see something. I just don't think do they need to spend $3 to $6 million on a 30-second spot? I mean, you know, I don't. Is that going to make the difference between those movies being successful or not? I don't think so. So I think they're good there. What do you think?
With the Super Bowl stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. It's like, I mean, I am a little bit of a surprise with Avengers and Spider-Man sitting out just because, I mean, I would think that, you know, they was just, you know, with how the cliffhanger they're following up on after No Way Home and Doomsday being what it is, I would think that it would also with like the countdown kind of timer thing they got with Doomsday, that just kind of said to me, it's like, okay, they're going to be just like, it's like a year's worth of marketing they're going to do with this. So I was a little bit surprised I heard they'd be sitting it out.
See, and the way they're doing the Doomsday marketing, they can break that up over time, like the countdown and these little snippets. I just don't know if you need to blow $6 million on something that you could probably get the same effect of. You're Marvel, you're the Avengers, and you're not just Marvel. We're talking about the two most successful pieces of that franchise. I mean, Spider-Man has done very well. And Avengers, there hasn't been an Avengers movie. Have all those motherfucking movies made $1 billion?
The Avengers?
Yeah, all of them,
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
every single one. They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine.
Spider-Man just got to $1 billion on his own as of Far From Home. So Far From Home, so yeah, since then he's been $1 billion on his own.
And I don't think it'll have a hard problem getting near or at that. I think it'll be fine. All right, Superman 2015.
Give me 25.
Okay, I was about to say, what did we miss? We missed the whole movie. We missed the sequel everybody's been asking about. No, Superman 2015, really the movie or IP or WB to showcase themselves as a company to a potential buyer. Between the constant spin control and Oscar award entries, I've never seen anything quite like it. Okay, let me read this. Make sure I'm reading the question right. Is Superman 2025 really the movie or IP WB to showcase themselves as a company to a potential buyer? No, not. There's no movie in WB's catalog, even with the success that they've had this year. No one movie that would make their case to a buyer. In totality, the year that they have would have been the better case to make if they were using that. No one movie would. You could use Sinners. You could use Superman. You could use. I mean, they had F1. And you know, Weapons, which is half a good movie.
One of my number one, probably like my number one horror movie last year.
The Scooby-Doo with cannibalism.
Yeah, so it's the best horror movie of 25.
You're out of your fucking mind, but that's cool. It's all subjective. But those, I mean, all those movies in totality and what they spent on them, the profit they made, the awards, the things like that all of that would be there. But no, I don't think one movie would.
In fact, I think Weapons actually was the first WB movie to come out after Superman. I think because it came out like a month later.
I thought was it Weapons? Yeah, but Sinners had already put them on that road. Weapons got now. Listen, Amy Madigan. The only thing that movie needed to do. I think
everybody should just like I think Williams is like he came on drunk tonight or something. So
no, I told you at the same time when I saw the movie. I didn't hate the movie, but it once Aunt Gladys hits the screen, the movie loses it for me. It's not saying it to see. It's one thing to say I didn't like a movie.
I
and
mean,
say a movie was
that fork scene alone, it's like. That just creeped me out. It's like she's like, I can make your parents eat each other if I want to. Do I want to?
If I guess it's the way that movie was marketed. That movie was marketed one way, and I got something else, and I just didn't want what I got towards the second half. The intrigue was done once Aunt Gladys came in. I'm like, okay,
that final chase too was a little bit interesting. Like,
that was over the top. It was hilarious, but
because it means like
damn kids are crashing through the windows,
stampeding after this old lady.
Oh, and they're doing Matthew Bourne jumping through windows shit. I'm like, how the fuck? What are you 11 doing this fucking Matthew Bourne jumping? The one with the camera work, which was really good by the way, where the camera work where she goes one way and the kid just cuts her off on the window. Yeah. I'm like, this is great. But overall, the movie it just didn't do it for me. And that particular director just doesn't his next movie is going to be a screamer for me. I'm not there for that. But no, I think Dan Man, all of it means something to them, and I think they if you're buying Warner Brothers, you're looking at their potential because it's all about their potential to draw revenue and increase revenue and increase the value of the company.
This isn't Warner Brothers quite related, but yeah, I thought I mentioned on the show tonight because I mean both these guys have done a lot of Warner Brothers work recently. So I finally pulled up on Amazon The Wrecking Crew with Jason Momoa and Dave Bautista. I really enjoyed it.
I'm gonna watch that. I'm going to wrestling tomorrow, but that is on my list. That looks like a lot. Everything he's in is fun. Everything Jason Momoa is just if you just want to watch a movie and have fun,
he's hamming it up so much. And then there's I mean it's a buddy cop movie basically with Momoa and Batista, and they have a lot of fun with it.
Two people I enjoy watching, by the way. Two people I enjoy, but more so Batista than anything else because I think he is becoming that kind of actor. Where Jason Momoa is just fun,
He's getting there. I mean, you can see it because he's getting the gray beard now. He's getting a little bit up
there.
He's
pushing 60. Yeah, what is he? 56, 57? He's up there,
something like that. Yeah,
and he spent the majority of his life in wrestling. So,
it's and you read about his backstory too, where he I forget what job he was working at the time, but I mean he was broke and he had to go to a friend to borrow money to get Christmas presents for his kids, and that just really just cut deep into him. And he's like, I can't be a good father this way. And then he that kind of sent him on the path to pro wrestling.
Yep, he was a hit. Something we will not be doing this morning. Some other time. I don't feel like doing a panel 2021 in the morning. Maybe next. I don't know. I know if I open the panel at night, it's just gonna annoy the shit out of me. You did it without an open panel. You did it. You guys did it. The people asking for it did it in the chat. What the hell? Come on now.
There's actually, by the way, with Batista, because I mean, obviously, I'm a big action movie guy, and this is very much it's definitely is it's very action packed, and Momoa and Batista, they're very physical guys too, and they really throw themselves into us. And Batista, God, I'm just grinning ear to ear this one part. There's an Old Boy-esque fight scene that Batista has in it that's just so awesome. So.
Original Old Boy, or
the original Old Boy, the original Boy.
Not the biggest fan.
I'm talking about the side view. Yes.
It's been about 8 years since I've seen Old Boy again. That and Ichi the Killer. I did a double feature that one time.
Because Spike Lee, he did that remake with Josh Brolin, right? Which I haven't seen that, but I heard that wasn't that was.
Yeah, and Elizabeth Olsen's in it too. I listen. I just don't like when they remake Asian films and films like that. It's weird. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's weird because there's certain aesthetics to Old Boy, and then you see it Americanized because they have to Americanize it, Well, first of all, you're not gonna make any money in America with subtitles. It's just not gonna happen, because of the fact that American audiences aren't gonna read. That's why I Let the Right One In and Let Me In. It's basically the same movie. They're both good movies. The problem with the Let Me In is I'm getting them mixed up now. The one that's subtitles is just not going to hit in America. It just wasn't going to. It's just American audience. They've tried that before, and it just doesn't click. That's the reason. Listen, Godzilla -1 would have been in English instead of subtitles. That probably would have made twice as much money.
Yeah, but it also would have completely undercut the movie thematically.
Nah, because it was what. But that's the difference between those type of movies. Let's see.
Speaking of remakes, because I was I guess this kind of came into my feed the other day. Is this was a canceled remake that I think probably a lot of people would say was for the best. It was canceled. That they were about 20 years ago. So they're going to do a remake of Revenge of the Nerds. And
yeah,
see
that.
Well, see, the thing about it is, I could see them doing a update of that, but you have to really, I mean, you have to account for the fact that nerds of the place in society for nerds is
who are the nerds now? They're cool. They're
exactly.
they're getting hot Comic-Con chicks.
Yeah, because but also not wearing masks and telling them there's somebody else to get them.
But okay, so those kids that are Revenge of the Nerds, if they were around today, they'd be like Columbine kids. You mess with kids like that, they come to school with guns and shit.
Yeah.
So it would be a different time. In the 80s, yeah, it's much easier to be a nerd in the 80s. But
there's so much
and that
movie that would get
that
destroyed.
that
today.
movie would have to be sent. You would not that camera scene where the guy sneaks the cameras into the girls
into the
girls' locker
sorority.
room. That whole but see that was what sold back then. Porky's, all that. Those movies were fucking dumb, but that's what sold back then.
Well, now they're horrifying with the whole thing. It's like, you're that nerd.
Yeah,
with the mask. You told me you were my boyfriend.
Yeah, those same guys who got chased around and beat up in those movies, they're with the hot chick now in San Diego. So there you go.
You know what else? Because there's the one part in it where they have to like do like the derby on the tricycle. When they have like the fraternity like triathlon showdown, whatever it was, and like every lap they have to chug a beer, and it's 20 laps. I'm like, that's 20 beers. Like,
yeah, and then that one guy, the one big jock dude, who spent literally 20 minutes or whatever the entire scene peeing. He had drunk so much beer that the entire like scene that they were talking about, he's just in the bathroom peeing because that was the thing. But that's the 80s, man.
That is absolutely alcohol poisoning. 20 beers.
Yeah, he'd be dead. He'd be dead. When weapons were built, Aunt Gladys. I know you mean Aunt Gladys. I was like, that's where I was at with it. Because the marketing of weapons was built that intrigue. What happened? What was it? And then when I got to the movie and I halfway through it, I'm like, okay, all right, we're going. You know, I'm glad I'm here. And then once I'm glad it starts showing up, and then like
I really love the fact that it takes the whole thing about it takes like a different character's perspective and it like slices up the movie like in 20-minute increments.
Yeah.
I really this whole story like getting from like so many different angles, and the fact too that like all the characters, like I mean nobody is a saint in this movie. They all have their personal shortcomings or foibles, and
too many though. There's the movie had too many points of view. And I said while I'm sitting here watching this movie, watching two characters that were absolutely fucking pointless that I didn't need, and I had their points of view which were worthless. I went to weird places that I would have rather not had certain explanations and got the ones I had. There was a lot of the movie that I could have done without, especially once I knew what was going down. And then the whole AR-15 above the house, and I'm like, what is this is a lot of stuff that just kind of spun off the rails for me once you see her, okay, well, she's behind all of this shit. I didn't even need to hear anything out of her mouth. This is her. Like I said, it's like if you watch Scooby-Doo and they take the mask off of the person before the end of the episode, I'm like, well, shit, I'm changing the channel because this is over with.
And this is the best killer on Scooby-Doo they ever had. And she would have got away with it. And she literally would have got away with it too if it weren't for those kids.
Well, her dumb ass knows that her kid, her grand uncle or niece or nephew or whatever the fuck he was. I think it was a grand nephew, something weird. Okay. You know that he's smart enough to a certain level. Why are you doing your shit in front of him where he can figure it out and undo your dumb ass?
That's what I love about it is when he turns the tables on her. And again, that fork scene.
I'm like, hey, kid, you know what? I got to do something. Come on. Don't show him your tricks. And it was not like it was hard. Break the noodles or whatever.
Like, don't show him your tricks. She just left her like a little stick bowl unattended.
Which, by the way, you don't have a lock on you. What is going on with this movie? But like I said, Weapons just didn't do it for me halfway through the movie. But that director, there's just certain directors that I really love, and I love their style, and I love what they put out. And then there's certain directors that I don't. And this guy's one. It was Zach Gregers. He did Zach Gregor, and he did Barbarian. So he's 0 for 2 in my books. And he's 0 for 2. He's 0 for 2 in a way that I'm not coming back.
I haven't seen Barbarian in a minute. I remember thinking I wasn't blown away with it the first time, but I thought it was decent. So I might need to revisit that. Weapons again, I loved.
He's 0 for 2 in a way that I will not be back for a third, like in a theater. And the movies aren't bad, but they start out one way and then they disappoint. it's like he just doesn't have enough air under his premise to land it. And that's what I thought. You know, with Barbarian, it was worse because I was almost through that movie, and I'm waiting for the last act, and I'm like, well, what the fuck was that? And then I felt myself in further or not as further along in Weapons. I'm halfway through the movie, wondering, okay, do I need to stay here? There wasn't even a cool popcorn bucket for that movie. So yeah, I mean, but I'm glad Amy Mann finally
could have made it out of like the little stick bowl. That's the thing.
I mean, but the movie was just like I said, and then you had the drug dealer and the cop who literally could have disappeared from the movie, and I would have been like better.
You need those guys.
Yeah, I mean, no, yeah, you didn't need those guys, but whatever. Aunt Cloud. Yeah, I know who you meant.
There was a grape scene. Yeah, I know what Eric's saying. Yeah, and again, that's what like it's. I mean, it's generous to say Revenge of the Nerds hasn't aged well. I mean, again, there is.
Yeah, and okay, there's such thing as nudity in movies. If anybody who got offended or is offended and thinks there's gratuitous nudity and all that in modern filmmaking, you did not live in the 80s. You did not live in the 80s. You haven't even seen anything from the 80s. The type of nudity that's in some of the early to mid 80s movies was outright just, and it's close up shit too. I'm going to leave it at this because they're probably going to get demonetized no matter what. There's a scene in Revenge of the Nerds. There's a close-up of something that you would not be doing a close-up in 2026. I'll just leave it at that. But that's what it was in the 80s. And like I said, you had your 80s slashers.
Are you familiar with the channel Legal Eagle?
The channel? No.
Legal Eagle. Yes, the guy Legal Eagle, or he's a lawyer who like yeah.
No, I am not. It sounds entertaining just for the name alone.
He talks a lot of like legal stuff on there, but he also like he goes through movies and like saying like here's like how many laws characters are breaking, and man, he goes the one he did on Revenge of the Nerds is so yeah.
Oh yeah, you would not be able to get away with. Like I said, the 80s that's why I say I tell people to let go of the 80s. Stop trying to remake shit from the 80s because you are not going to transport that atmosphere. You can't. You shouldn't. You got to get in trouble because Revenge of the Nerds was like so, and it's all one-sided. Now you have art movies that go, male and female nudity, and it's art today.
No, yeah, this is
nope.
Revenge of the Nerds. It's very misogynistic,
and like I said,
it's very homophobic too. With the
it's very and there's a homosexual person that's part of the cast, or he's part of the movie.
He wasn't gay. He was playing gay, and he said actually later on he had like really like people thought he did it so well. I guess that people actually thought he was gay, so he had to like compensate with other roles, but he plays it so again the stereotypical like really just foppish like
wearing Michael Jackson's Beat It jacket in the final. Yeah. I remember that movie, like dude. I mean, and it's just in those movies like I said, Porky's 2, Revenge of the Nerds, and all the Animal. There was all kinds of stuff that they just did that you would not be able to do it now, and it was all about because they knew and they learned from the horror movies. TNA was going to sell. It was going to sell, and it was no problem. Now it would be, you wouldn't be able to do it. The world has changed, but you weren't going to get a Friday the 13th movie without some strange person who just met her fellow campers saying, "Oh, there's a lake. Let's go skinny dipping with people I just met on a trailer or on a bus." That's what happened. I mean, there you go. But yeah, there was a whole bunch of fruit and.
There's also here's another part of the scene in Revenge of the Nerds that really again like so there's they're trying to like find all the nerds they're trying to find because they get kicked out of their dorm by the jocks. So they're trying to find places, people like renting rooms, and there's the one kid who's like the child prodigy. He's like the 12-year-old kid who goes to college early. And he knocks on the door of like this one woman who says like, and he responds like, "Hey, I saw the ad about the room." And she says, "Yes, just come on in. Let's discuss." And she's clearly interested in ulterior ways of this 12-year-old kid. And
yeah, and they just shot that scene. I mean, yeah, just like I said, the rules are different in the 80s. Just trust me. The Ring was a fantastic Asian remake. I thought the Ring remake was adequate because they didn't try to really do anything drastically from. I mean, it's in English. That's really the main differences. But I'm just not a big fan of because I don't think you capture the essence that they do. I would just rather read the subtitles and you Americanize it.
I mean,
but Ringo was good.
You're talking to like an Asian action fan here. It's like, I mean,
but see, you're the Asian action fan. I don't know if that's the same.
Fan.
I'm the Asian horror fan. I think action is a little bit different. It translates.
Yeah, it's like.
I think action is much more translatable between.
But even that, I mean, it's like you don't. I mean, people don't tend to be, I think, over the moon of like. I mean, that's like. I mean, they've been trying to remake The Raid in English for like over a decade, and you know.
And you really don't. I mean, you really don't need to, because that's do I need to know English to understand The Raid? Not really.
Yeah, it's like the cops go into a building full of bad guys and they have to fight their way out.
How you doing, Jose? What's going on? Okay, yes, I did. However, I wasn't as jolted as everyone else that I watched the show with or talk about the show with, because they hadn't read the novels and stuff. And the only few bits of things that I've read in the last 30 years has been the Game of Thrones books and the Song of Fire and Ice. So I knew who he was. I knew who he was before anything. His name should have been a giveaway. The fact that he was bald, the only other Game of Thrones character that was bald from that Valyrian lineage, that was in House of the Dragon, where he was hiding the fact that he had that lineage, and so he's bald, and his name is Aegon. So if you watch Game, so I knew who that was. So, but once again, the vast majority of people who watch adaptations of comic books and or novels will never read the source material. So I knew who he was. I was just waiting to see how they would do it. And I also know what happens to him too. It happens to all of them in the show, because it's all been written. But I watched that show pretty much for the quality of it. I mean, Game of Thrones is quality. It's not the top of my list as far as Game of Thrones stuff goes, but I think it's well done. I'm ready for House of the Dragon season 3, and I'm ready for them to do something with Jon Snow. Okay. All right, Dan, man, my thing about weapons was the title. I just didn't get exact. No, this I did get, but I thought it was lame, but I didn't understand it. I just didn't get exactly what it was going for. The Thanos dream, Josh Brolin thing, when he sees the assault rifle. And that's over the house. I mean, it's a head scratcher to me too.
Well, I mean, because it's the movie's kind of been interpreted as like kind of like a metaphor for like when school shootings happen and the kind of the effect that has on the whole community. That's kind of what they've been read into that.
Well, what he said it was the kids. The kids were the weapons. They were the weapons. The people they were weapons. The weapons were the people. Everybody in that show, except for the survivors, was turned into something that was aimed at somebody. So I got that part. I just thought it was like kind of lame. I just thought the way they marketed that, I had that Cloverfield feeling. When you do an awesome job of marketing, it really helps for me if you follow it up on that same vein. Cloverfield's marketing might be the best advertising campaign I've ever seen for a movie. And it led to that movie. That's a problem for me. You have the Statue of Liberty's heads bouncing down Broadway, and then when I get my happy ass into the theater, you give me human interest shit with stupid humans, by the way. So yeah, you're marketing, and then weapons is like the whole thing was nobody knows why they're doing this. Well, here's how I'm fucking glad it's all over now. Maybe if they would have moved that to like the latter stages of, I don't know, but I mean, I literally felt myself getting up and leaving the movie theater while still sitting there when I'm like, well, who is this crazy bitch? Oh, that's the culprit. And then when she started doing that shit when she's talking to, okay, fuck. All right, well, I guess how much, and I started looking at my phone. I usually turn my phone off during the movies because, I don't want to be interrupted and all that. I turned my phone on to see how long I've been sitting in this movie and to see how long. I literally looked it up. I'm like, how much more of this is left? I was ready to go. See, with Jordan Peele, he waits till the last 10, 15 minutes to do that to me. But this one, like halfway through, I'm like, all right, well, shit. I mean, half of it was good. So yeah, that was the thing. As a kid, so Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which was some insane bullshit that would never happen, but it was Hollywood.
Hmm.
I think those are the two
Ferris
movies
Bueller.
that for me,
Bueller.
yeah, where he just basically is inches away from getting caught, but he never gets caught.
Oh, that principle. It's like, Bueller, little son of a bitch.
Yeah, and he's chasing him. I mean, he's chasing him. He knows he's guilty, but that was some cartoon. But Ferris Bueller, and I think Breakfast Club is a John Hughes movie, if I'm correct. He's done
Home
other
Alone.
movies, but what's up?
Home Alone. Yeah. Home Alone was him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, like if he did it, it's probably set in Chicago.
Okay, yeah, because I saw those other ones. I saw Breakfast Club. I was a kid when Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller came out. I was a kid, I was like 12. By the time Home Alone came on, I told you my story about Home Alone, right?
I don't think you did.
I left it and went to another theater. I had no use for that movie. I literally was at the base movie theater, and there was only two other movies showing.
My co-host is Scrooge, Christmas classic.
No, it's not. I just thought it was kind of stupid. And I left, and I went into another movie. But you left
halfway through. So you left halfway through, so you didn't even see like the part where like all the traps are like almost killing them.
All that shit was in the trailers and the cutout scenes that they had shown up to the movies for me. So I wasn't feeling it. But I was at a different age though, where I didn't give a fuck about John Hughes anymore. I was outgrowing John Hughes. And that's the difference between Home Alone and The Breakfast Club. And Ferris Bueller's Days Off. Those were movies that lined up with me, and he continued to make those type of movies as I grew out of those. No disrespect to him. He made the kind of movies he makes. It's just sometimes certain directors make certain types of movies where you look back on them and like, I'm no longer the genre. I'm no longer the target audience for some of this stuff.
Bueller. God, it's like he hijacks a parade.
Yeah. And his dad's office is right there, and he's singing and Break It Out, Baby. Yeah. Yeah, looking out at just the exact time he's looking out and to see him.
And when they're in the cab, he's in the cab, like or he's at the restaurant. He's like, again, he always like just skirts by getting caught by like that much.
Yeah, which is like, if I'd have tried that shit, I wouldn't have made it outside the house. My mom wouldn't have even felt for the speakers and the stereo that shit up. She'd turn that shit off. So I don't know. It depends on what part of the stream you came into. I can't really promise you didn't walk into something weird.
Oh, and
Force Winds. Okay.
The other great thing I loved about Ferris Bueller is like the whole joyriding in the Ferrari. that's because
well the two the guys, the valet guys, that would have got their asses kicked. How do you even pull out? How do you even pull out of that parking lot without looking at that odometer?
Well, I'm talking about the kids, but I mean that's kind of like tapped on. I mean,
I don't even remember them. I don't even remember the kids joyriding in their Ferrari. I remember what those two shitheads did in that Ferrari.
Basically, like everybody everybody who's in the Ferrari that day is joyriding, basically. Because I mean, they take it out of the dad's garage, and then the valets take it. So it's like everybody's driving that car illegally that day.
Yeah, but I think they would have noticed Cameron's. When those two guys got home, they were like flying through and the music that they were playing.
Star Wars music.
Yeah, as soon as I got in there and I looked at that, I would have slammed both of their heads in that car. I was like, you see what you did? I saw recently that saying that Gen Z prefers not to have sex or nudity in their movies. Very curious as to why they're constantly shipping people in movies. I'm not Gen Z. What generation are you? You're a millennial?
Yep.
So I can't tell you why. I mean, I know Gen X. Whether we wanted it or not, we were getting it. It fucking mattered. I mean, it didn't matter. I mean, it's just because it was the 80s, man. It was the 80s. That's what they sold. All your barbarian and fantasy movies. I mean, come on. You didn't have
PGs back then, and we're like, wait.
Yeah. What's the one with the late great Tanya Roberts? Tanya Roberts, Sheena.
Oh yeah.
You want some gratuitous whatever?
Big, the Tom Hanks.
What was I hadn't seen Big. Big was a Robert Lloyd shit, right? Yeah, I know of it. Hold on, because Sheena, by the way, which is
and by the way, the other thing, William, with the 80s too is we talk about the rules are different. It's like the 80s were post civil rights movement, but you could still get away with being like racist as hell.
Oh yeah, I mean black folks and white, but I mean Eddie Murphy was the king of it. Go watch 48 Hours. Go watch the first 48 hours. You want to see racism go both ways, and everybody's clapping at it.
Well, I'll go watch Revenge of the Nerds.
Well, yeah, I mean that's all. I mean, it was all kinds of racist. What was this movie rated? Because this movie had no business being rated. I think it was this PG? Hold on, let me see. I'm just looking right now. You can answer other questions if you want. I'm just looking. I'm just curious.
Apparently, Gen Alpha is the new Gen X.
I've stopped counting.
Yeah, American Pie. That was I think that was like the last time you could like push the envelope in like a teen comedy like that.
Let's see. Box office. I'm just trying to find something out. I can't find any. You should be able to find
them. American Pie. That's a real. I never really got into the American Pie movies.
I have never seen them.
Well,
I have never seen them.
You know why they're called that, right?
Yeah, I know that scene, but that scene was made famous.
Well, just tell your mother that we ate it all.
That's the only scene I've seen of it. You know, I mean that's a famous scene. That's like that one with Ben Stiller in it in the zipper. I've never seen that movie. Something About Mary. I will never ever see that movie.
Well, that scene is like that. That's like almost like that. I mean, those are like two sides of the same spectrum. Of like, because I mean, the zipper scene, that's like every man's worst nightmare.
Yeah, and first of all, it just didn't look like a movie that I'd ever want to see. But in that scene, the one that they keep highlighting in the previews, is like, okay, I'm never going to see this. But it was just that was like in the 90s, early 2000s, and they were just putting out a lot of shit like that, and it just seemed like the same movie, like another teen movie, and all that kind of stuff. It was like,
yeah,
you know, then it rolled into the spoof movies, and okay, yeah, Sheena is rated PG. 1984, Tanya Roberts, Ted Wise. I mean, it was one of those movies that was like the Jungle Family. It's a PG 13 movie. No, PG, not even PG 13. Watch that movie. There's no fucking way that's a PG movie. There's one scene in particular that on its own is R.
Oh, yeah.
On its own is R. We didn't care back then.
You know, another good example of like an 80s PG that is like, this is like BS. This is it helped create the PG-13. Temple of Doom. One of my all-time favorites.
Well, the heart.
Well, dipping and dipping the guy in lava and like.
Oh, whipping and beating a kid. I mean, you know, Short Round got the shit kicked out of him in that movie.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was PG. That was PG-13. Yeah, the guy's heart's getting ripped out. But like we always like,
he was PG.
And he's beating.
Like it was PG, and then their controversy like spurred the PG-13 out of it.
Yeah, a sham rating to this day is a sham rating, because guess what? The first movie to hit the big screen notoriety was Red Dawn, and I don't know if you think that's a PG-13 movie. You think, you know, okay, I was okay with the violence because I grew up watching it, but as far as like this is a scam. You're trying to tell me that it's wait a minute. We made PG-13. It's okay now. I'm sorry. Those kids are getting point blank. Dead bodies hanging out of the window, teachers getting shot in the head, headshots that they're showing, implied rape, all kinds of stuff in that movie, executions. There's nothing okay about that movie.
This is why, I mean, I've talked about this a fair amount recently on the show and on social media. This is why I love RoboCop so much, because it's like RoboCop is a hard R. And that's the gore. That's a gore element in it.
And
it's so. I mean, they make a point where like the blood and guts is like so crazy, where it's like it's almost like an itchy and scratchy cartoon, where it's like it's meant to be just over the top and absurd with like so yeah, I love RoboCop. Part of the reason
I like the first one was iconic. After that, it was just
okay. I love 2.
You guys want more money. They've
been trying to get another one off the ground for a while. I think Amazon's got their, you know, that's kind of on their plate now. So we'll see how that goes.
I don't know if it's how many seasons it's supposed to be. I've never seen a Game of Thrones show this one season though. So
I love Red Dawn. Again, Red Dawn is like, and see now PG-13's gone the opposite direction in terms of being BS, because it was BS, whereas like back then it was BS because of like it was just it was a way to like mask an R movie. Now it's just like the one size fits all rating, where like every studio wants everything to be PG-13 because it's like that's the 4-quadrant rating.
Yeah, you just want your money. Yeah, Red Dawn, the original Red Dawn was a classic.
I mean, I think most of the MCU could probably be PG.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of it. There's nothing in there that's PG-13. The big giveaway was proper pronunciation, like Highborn. Yeah, and like I said, I wonder how I would have felt about Night in Seven Kingdoms if I didn't already know the characters and what happened in it. It might be. I don't want to Aunt Gladys prequel. I'm going to pass on that anyway. Whether they make it or not, they should have shortened the other chapters before the reveal and gave Gladys exactly. I would have been okay with that. Eliminate the 2 useless characters that were in there. The cop and the drug addict. You could have eliminated those 2 clowns, and you could have pushed Aunt Gladys. Gave me more intrigue, and then sprung Aunt Gladys on me, because once you saw her, she didn't have to say shit. You know somebody that looked like that was up to some foul shit. She was responsible for something. So yeah, I agree there. You're playing. Okay. All right, well,
yeah.
It's like I fell asleep. I didn't fall asleep. It just the humor didn't hit to me.
I've got the first 2 on every holiday season.
I could say I could barely sit through it when I was in. Like, luckily, I was in a theater where they weren't really monitoring. You can walk out.
That's one where like again that's kind of a bullshit thing too. That it's PG because those traps are so violent and they're played with like Looney Tunes. I mean, they look this up on YouTube where like Home Alone, like if it was like it's taught like something like Home Alone with realistic blood or something, and it shows like the traps. Okay, here's what would actually happen if this trap actually was sprung on you.
I have from what I've heard of him, and it's going to be him, and he's going to be running it with somebody right below him that's going to be handling the movies and all that. I this time it looks like Bob Iger, took his time to find the person who's going to project where they want the company to go. So I'm all right with it. Nobody of note to me to where it'd be like, oh, that guy or that gal. Nah, so we're good there.
Yeah, I heard there was a remake of RoboCop in 2014, which it's like, man, there's stuff in it that's good, but yeah.
It did what I think. It did what I think the next one will do if it ends up in the theater. You put it on streaming, you're fine. You put it on streaming, you're good.
Well, it's Amazon that's got it. So
they could still put it in.
They wanted, what I read, because I was reading about this the other night, they want to do like a movie and a series. Because Amazon owns MGM now, and MGM has the rights to RoboCop. So,
Lord.
Yeah. So I think what they want to do is they've talked for a while about doing like RoboCop Returns, where it's like it's a legacy sequel to the original series.
All right, what are we doing here?
I think right now, look at the stuff that's happening in the world right now. It's like RoboCop. It just keeps getting more and more relevant. RoboCop has aged unbelievably well. Like the only thing about RoboCop that hasn't come true is the actual RoboCop in it.
Pass. Yeah. I saw 48 Hours for the first time a few months ago, but yeah, that movie was back when humor was just a little bit different. The country bar scene with Eddie Murphy when he takes Dick Doty's badge was enough. That wouldn't happen. That would not happen today.
Even into the 90s, I mean, like Rush. I wrote a feature on a while back on Fortress about Rush Hour and how like those don't age well. And that's the thing about like this Rush Hour 4 that's ostensibly, I mean, who knows what it's
not happening. It's not.
Yeah,
happening.
but again, it's like you'd have to water down so much of that humor now to just make it palatable to people, because it's
that was tame. With Jackie Chan and him doing it in if that had happened in 1982, it'd have been far more racist.
Yeah.
It was,
but again, it's like nowadays, like again, the humor in Rush Hour. I mean, like the whole scene, like in the bar, it's like do what I do. And it's like he, says something he shouldn't. It's like even like a
And
misunderstanding.
the whole thing that was a trailer, but do you understand the words that are coming out as if he would
Yeah.
implying that just but yeah, that was
I'll
was
kick
like
your daddy's ass back to China, Japan, whatever the hell you from. It's
yeah,
like, yeah, that would not.
that was vanilla stuff that, like I said, you put
But
that in the
that
80s,
would,
it would
but that would be again that would you cause riots with that now. So it's like you'd have to water it down so much. It's not even Rush Hour anymore if you try to make Rush
yeah.
Hour 4 now. So what's the point?
And listen, not my genre, but I appreciate the original Rush Hour. There's a such thing as going to there's only so many things in your well, which limits your trips back and forth from it.
Yeah, yeah.
Rush Hour 2 was not a good movie. And I saw that in a movie theater. It's just to me, it's not quite as bad as Expendables.
Yeah, I think Rush Hour 2 is like because that was like you're going into 2001, 21st century. Or that it's like there's even humor in that. I mean, he goes to Hong Kong in that, and again a lot of humor in that would just.
But it was accepted humor by them at this point. It was baked in there. If you're going to go see Rush Hour, you probably got that. It's like if they made another 48 Hours movie. Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte could probably get away with it.
Just like the one. I mean, like one that really always stood out to me is like they tried to say it's like he accidentally punches Jackie. And it's like, oh, you guys look alike. It's like I don't think that's gonna fly today.
I think it would if it would not if it was two other people that hadn't been performing that role. I think you could get away with it today. I don't think you could bring a new Asian person, a new black person saying that today. Nah, but those guys, it's baked in. But yeah, Rush Hour. I don't. There didn't need to be a Rush Hour 3. There definitely doesn't need to be a Rush Hour 4. There barely needed to be a Rush Hour 2. That just wasn't a good movie, and I liked Rush Hour 1 for what it was. Sometimes
I'm bigger on the Shanghai movies because the Shanghai movies are basically like Rush Hour in the Old West.
Yeah, they still got to be good though. And that wasn't a good movie in my opinion. But like I said, sometimes the sequels just don't always work. Now, where you can do a sequel over and over again is the Bad Boy series, because if you notice, there's a different. Now you look at what they did in Rush Hour. You look at what they did Expendables and some of these other movies where they couldn't maintain what made them good.
Well, that's what's interesting.
Bad Boys did, and
And what's interesting about that is how long the gaps they had between like a gap, because they had the first two, they were pretty close together. Then you had 17 years until 3.
And so because you had 94, and then
like 2003, I think was 2, and then again wasn't until right before COVID for 3. And then they really struggled there and saw it with 4 on that one. But again, you had these really long gaps of Bad Boys. But I mean, that was a case where they even with that at play, they still kept their momentum going.
Yeah, and because they were each good movies, that and they came up with new ways to keep you engaged into the story. Some of these sequels just don't do it. And I'm a sequel guy. I always say if you got story to tell it over as many movies as you need to.
Bad Boys 3 too. I mean, man, that was just barely dodged that COVID bullet too with the timing when it came out.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have. Some of these movies don't need sequels. Bad Boys 4 Rush Hour 4 is not happening now. That's almost like a joke now.
Well, that's the thing. It's like even after Paramount, because again, I think we can call Time of Death on Paramount being the new owners of Warner Brothers. But I still seen reporting out there saying it's it's still in development. It's okay, I'll believe when I see it. I mean, I've said many times I'm the biggest Jackie Chan fan you're ever going to meet. It's I'm at best blasé on the prospect of Rush Hour 4. So.
Listen, I'm the biggest Kareem Abdul-Jabbar fan. Jabbar fan you're ever going to find out. Do I want to see him doing in the ring or in a movie with Chuck Norris? No.
I mean, it's he did one with Bruce Lee, so it's
at 80, no. I don't want to see Jackie Chan at what is he now? He's closing on 70. Well, yeah,
listen though, if you see anyone see Shadow's Edge, I mean, it's because that's one he did that came out last year. It's really crazy how well he could still move.
not as good as you would need to do to carry a movie.
Again, it's like he's not doing like the police story kind of style of stunts anymore. But like in terms of like the fight scenes and the kind of like the stunts that you can maintain at his age, it's again, I'm just amazed at how long he's kept his career going with like how he's broken every bone in his body 12 times over.
That is not going to be good enough to sustain a modern audience.
No, again, it's like I'm not on the Rush Hour 4 train.
So. we don't need to even see that. That's I don't think that movie's going to happen. I love the Blackfire songs. References. Yeah, the Blackfire Rebellion. That's just another thing that erodes the Targaryen. I mean, what Game of Thrones is from House of the Dragon all the way through is basically the erosion of the Targaryen dynasty and then the resurrection of it again with them. So
and that's this is actually something I'm really excited. The Jackie Chan stunt team, they're on Brand New Day, and I'm not gonna bore William with a list of well-known names in like the Hong Kong action circle that I am a scholar on, but I mean, like the behind the scenes people on it do very much excite me as far as like the kind of action we're going to see in Brand New Day. So that excites me. But Rush Hour 3 was bad. Yes, it was.
Well, Rush Hour 2 was bad too. I saw comments saying that David Fincher should put Paul Dano, Matthew Leonard, and Owen Wilson in Once Upon a Time Hollywood Part 2.
Oh no, that's it's not. It's not Once Upon a Time Hollywood 2. It's like the Tale of Cliff Booth or whatever that Brad Pitt's character is called.
Yeah, we were talking about this before, I think, or somebody bought this. I either hear the vodka stream and they would ask me about it. I'm like, I didn't leave Once Upon a Time in Hollywood needing any more from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Well, I definitely don't need any more of like Tarantino doing Bruce Lee.
That didn't even bother me. I mean, because I know what he does in these movies. I mean, if you've seen a Tarantino movie, especially one with historical reference, he does whatever the fuck he wants to. That didn't bother me. I didn't take it for real. Just like I didn't take Hitler dying that way in Inglourious Basterds as anything. I mean, that's just his take on it.
Well, he also ruffled a lot of feathers too recently with the stuff like he's talking trash on Paul Dano and I think Matthew Lillard too. For no reason.
Oh, he's got a list of people. I don't know why, dude. Just
he's a great filmmaker, but my
Academy Award winning filmmaker. Why are you dogging the Brotherhood, dude?
But he's really up his own ass.
But that's one of my least favorite of his. I mean, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is one of my. It was okay for what it was, but I didn't leave there saying, wow, I need more of this. There was nothing in that movie. The only thing I needed more out of that movie, and I got it, was the actor who played Charles Manson. He ends up in Mindhunter playing a better version of Charles Manson. He did better in the 10 minutes he's Charles Manson in that movie or in that show. So this wasn't a big and Brad Pitt won for that. And I'm like, what?
I actually liked other than the Bruce Lee scene, I actually really liked One Time in Hollywood.
It's just too sensationalized for me. But then that's what get you going. You risk that when you get with Tarantino. It's either sensationalized good or sensationalized to the point where it's like, okay, that was a thing I did. I'm not going. I don't revisit Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Well, my first Tarantino movie was Kill Bill. That was my intro to Tarantino, and it's like, and I discovered
mine was Reservoir Dogs.
So I just, of course, Kill Bill is actually very. We were talking about like everything very sensationalized. I mean, just the blood alone in that definitely is testimony of that. One of my favorite. We did the watch party of that a while back. I mean, God, one of the best moments in that movie is when Lucy Liu and they're in the Yakuza meeting and the one guy cusses her out and just cuts straight her feet, just scurrying across the table.
Oh yeah, she chops his head off.
Yeah,
or chops the top of his head off. No, she chops his whole head off. She
and then you get that geyser of blood out of it.
Yeah, which is completely just like Sophie's still alive with no limbs. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was the first movie that Tarantino made that didn't have a mission point or a point B plot. Yeah, it was just I was there. I didn't walk out as a hater. I just didn't think it was, and it was overrating is subjective. I think it's an overrated movie personally, but that's just my opinion. Everybody else can think,
Yeah.
And I don't think I've seen Brad Pitt in better shit than that. And when he won for that, and I was like, whoa, okay. But then again, every time I go like, oh, he won for that, and I remember what we've been going through with the Oscars, and then somebody's been posting a scene today on my Twitter page, which I just visited.
I mean, I do think they probably saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I mean, that's nothing else, but again, you can't necessarily like bet money they actually watched what they're voting on.
I don't know because how could you if you gave him an award for that? But that's fine. They showed the scene from Wakanda Forever that should have alone won Angela Bassett the Academy Award. And I'm like, and that just reinforces the fact that I'm not watching this shit this year. Just I'm watching this shit this year. This is gonna make me mad. I loved that trailer. That was a movie trailer.
Yeah, that was. I like.
Yeah, that was a movie trailer. Did we do a watch party of that, or did we just do
season one? But yeah.
Okay, because we're definitely doing watch party. It's February 27th, so we're gonna make some time to do Monarch. Oh yeah, we did. I loved the first season. And I could say I know I just seeing it, just that trailer had me ready to pull money out of my pocket and go see it. You know, and now I just have to have Apple, which I already have. So yeah, I thought it was great. I signed up.
Yeah, Shadow Strays. Yep, love it.
What?
Absolutely.
What?
Yeah,
What?
I don't even. Why you bring? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love it, but it's like I don't know why Port's bringing it up.
What obscure shit have you bought to the channel? There?
It's it's just one of Timo's crowning achievements. Foreigner with Jackie Chan was great. Yeah, it was. Jet Li. Yeah, that was a superhero movie that Jet Li did in Hong Kong. Although it's got the worst English dub I've ever heard in my life. It's even got a rap soundtrack to it, which is like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why'd they add that?
I keep trying to go back to From Dusk Till Dawn to like it more than I did when I first saw it. It just stays there for me. Not bad, not great. Right in the middle. That's why when I saw Sinners, it reminded me of Dusk Till Dawn, I'm like, were you sniffing Comet? Maybe, I don't know, because I actually like Sinners. Dusk Till Dawn was just I like the visual aesthetics of it, and then people were like, well, it's the same visual aesthetic. I'm like, what? Once again, what was the powder concentrate? What was going on when you were watching that? Because I see nothing in those two movies, but it's all subjective. But I tried the other day, a couple of weeks ago, to pop to watch Dusk Till Dawn and get a feel for it again. And maybe like I just wasn't feeling it then. I still don't feel anything for that movie other than it's kind of cool. As far as vampires goes, it's not even in my top 15 or 20 because I kind of don't consider it a vampire movie, but you know, Sinners is more of a vampire movie because it's blatantly about vampires than Dusk Till Dawn is. But hey, that's what's all subjective though. Well, Jackie Brown was actually a pretty decent movie, but it didn't have much of it. It had a couple of different points, but nothing really that, you know, led to. When was Hateful Eight released? That was after Django. That was after, yeah. Hateful Eight was like what, 2018?
Like 2016, I think.
Was that? Wow, that's that old.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Huh?
Pulp Fiction is a lot of people. He's. I mean, it's cliche to use the phrase "separate the art from the artist," but I mean, the guy just like he makes a lot. He's made a lot of moves I really love, but maybe it's like, but he just really knows how to rub me the wrong way with like a lot of the stuff he says in interviews.
I am not. I can't connect with it. A classic is not what I use for that movie. Like I said, I don't hate the movie, but I just try to it's almost like I should be feeling something more for this movie than I ever did, and I don't. Yeah. The subject, the story structure, the two leads, and vampires feel very inspired by Dusk Till Dawn. Not at all. Not at all. In fact, in no way, shape, or form for me. For a lot of different reasons. And I looked at it again and I tried to look into it, and I shouldn't probably do this. Tried to look into it just to see that, see if there's any of that connection. Maybe I would have liked Dusk Till Dawn better if I could see Sinners in it. I just don't see it. There's vampires in it. And there's two leads, but there's a lot more to Sinners. It's not just them. Sinners is nothing without that supporting cast. Even though Michael B. Jordan is they're exquisite as Smoke and Stack, the support cast that's surrounding them was better than anything that's in Dusk Till Dawn. But that's just like I said, there's no wrong answers here. Watch the 1991 concept trailer for Dusk Till Dawn. Robert Kirshner directed it. Yeah, Public Enemy #1 when it comes to Star Trek, I guess. I'm not saying Kirshner, I'm sorry. Dogs was mine. Dogs was mine, and I didn't really get that movie at first. That took me a couple of times. Yeah, she plays and she was in Shogun. She was the female lead. In fact, she won an Emmy. I think she won an Emmy or was nominated for an Emmy for Shogun. But I do love her in Godzilla. Apparently, From Dusk Till Dawn was similar to '80s vampire flick, starring Grace. What the fuck was that called? I know what movie he's talking because she's not in too many movies where you don't realize it's her. What was that movie called? Grace Jones was another one. That was straight out of the '80s right there, boy. She's like 70 now, isn't she? Hold on, let me see. 77. Damn. Should be 78 pretty soon. What was that movie? Hold on. Oh, Conan the Destroyer was awful. Vamp, 1986, Vamp. That was not a 1986 movie we were visiting. Oh, View to a Kill was such a bad Bond movie. Okay. Thoughts of Roman choosing Punk. That was the best matchup that you could get once you made the decision to have him win the Royal Rumble, which to me was a bad decision. But if you're gonna do it, then that's the guy. And for what it is, I love the promo that they cut with each other the other night when he made his choice. So, Jesus Christ, dude.
Oh, sorry, clear my throat.
Mute sneeze, mute cough, mute clear. So you're gonna make me go deaf. Remember, I'm getting it all stereo right here. But yeah, as long as I mean, there's really not much salvaging that situation. I mean, that's the problem with WWE. I know Cody's going to make his way into that match, and if they, oh my God, if they let Drew McIntyre go into WrestleMania as the main event champion, I'm done. But if it's Cody again, that means I'm basically getting the same people every year for WrestleMania, and it's just old hat. So, out of all the people he could have chose, of the two people he could have chose, there's no heat between him and McIntyre. CM Punk has heat with everybody in the organization because of the way he's kind of conducted himself the last 15, 20 years. So that was the obvious one for me. Yeah, Vamp. Yeah, I looked it up. Oh, that movie was awful. Favorite sitcom for me? I stopped watching him in the late 80s. So, fuck. To be honest with you, one of them is going to be. It was off the air before I was even knew what a TV was. It's All in the Family, and not just because it would make me laugh, because it was just so important. We've covered that a couple of weeks ago, just how important that was, especially as a young kid of color growing up and seeing the portrayal of not just Black people, but hearing what each ethnic group had to say about each other, because you knew those kind of conversations were happening in places you weren't involved. And watching how that show affected my parents, yeah, we laughed, but we also took something away from it, So All in the Family. I just don't have too many favorite sitcoms. I only watch the ones I watched because we only had the one TV. Once I got my own TV, I think I was like 10. I stopped watching them. So I would have to say All in the Family. I don't know if that was, you want to answer that?
Favorite sitcom? What was that? I mean, I did like the Cosby Show for the longest time before, kind of it got tainted with,
Well, that was 30 years later when he became Prince Charming. I mean, that was,
I liked Seinfeld a lot. I always enjoyed Seinfeld.
I didn't get the jokes. I just didn't.
What other sitcom? Well, I mean, this is a bit of more of a kid one. I mean, I love Kenan and Kel, on a Nickelodeon. It's weird because I haven't watched like a lot of sitcoms in a man, it's been. Oh yeah. It's.
I watched them for as long as I had to. Like I said, once I got my own TV.
Simpsons. I mean, that's kind of like my all-timer, The Simpsons. Which is interesting. Can you classify an animated series as a sitcom? I think you can.
Yeah, it was a situation comedy. It was a prime time.
Yeah, probably. I probably would say The Simpsons. Probably The Simpsons.
Yeah. All right, William, have you seen Stephen King's movie, The Life of Chuck, featuring Tom Hiddleston? I have not. From Dusk Till Dawn was originally a story by Robert Kurtzman. He pitched it to Universal for a Tales of the Crypt movie. I did remember that, which was originally set to come out after Demon. I do remember hearing about that. I don't even know what to say to that. Dusk Till Dawn plus Fresh Prince of Bel-Air equals Sinners. Which Fresh Prince are you talking about? The new one or the old one? I don't know.
I think he's going by like the original.
Do you think the HBO, Amazon, and Netflix should focus on non-cinematic traditional programming to vary content? No. I'm going to say no because I don't think the audience is there for it anymore. I think there's a reason why certain things have gone away. You have a lot. I mean, you look at the amount of sitcoms that are on today. I mean, sitcoms used to be the bread and butter of networks back in the day. Now they're just rather slap a game on there with two low markets in there. I mean, I don't know if the market for sitcoms is where it was at when, what are you bringing back? You know what I mean? If you're bringing back sitcoms with the expectations of like the mid to late 90s and early, when you could throw Urkel on Friday night and it would get ratings. Now it's like, who's watching them versus what their other options are. So I don't know if there's a market like that for sitcoms in order for them to even make any type of investment in situation comedies anymore. I don't know. So I don't think so. But the better answer would be if you would ask somebody in the industry to see what they say, because they would have the numbers. My issue with every show is trying to be a movie. It devalues movies. Well, no, nobody's watching them on Friday anymore. It's, there was a time for that. Today's audiences want their shows to be high quality. See, the content provider is only going for what their audience is demanding. You can't make these shows with the old television rule intent. You'll lose your audience. You can't show them game, and plus a lot of these guys, they want more value. You're saying it devalues movies, but it really doesn't. People, that's not why people aren't going to the movies, and that's why they don't see value. If movies are expensive, what you are is you're adding value to the streaming service, or you're adding value to the TV show. That doesn't mean that you can't add that same value to the cinema, though. It's just the customer is choosing one over the other. That's all. William, I do predict Roman will go full-time Hollywood soon. Cody Rhodes may follow him too. Maybe. Cody Rhodes is pressing 40. He's been wrestling his entire adult life. Maybe he wants to kick back. And I know Roman Reigns, and that was one of the things they put up in the promo at night. He's a part-timer, and that's what kind of people kind of resent him. Did you know TGI? Yeah, Full House, Step by Step. The one with Urkel. What's the Boy Meets World? Yeah, Family Matters, Boy Meets World. Yeah, they had it going for a while. They had that going. I did a because when I did the what happened to Saturday morning cartoons, we did that segment for the show about a year or so ago. That was another thing that I looked up, is what happened to Friday night, because from the late 80s, from like 1987 or 1988 to around the late 90s, 1998 or so, you had TGI Fridays and a couple different. ABC was the main one that had it, and but other places would have it. And you also had X-Files. What happened to those is digital cable and things like DVR and being able to digitally record and watch shows instead of having the old VHS thing where that was a pain in the ass. You were just better off watching it. You had more channels come out in the 90s. You had the ability to record things whenever. Most people these days, and this is why Nielsen's ratings are kind of useless. Most people will record a show, but they won't watch it right then and there. Like I watched the first 48, right? I'm never home on Thursday nights when it airs, but I watch it. I never miss an episode, right? And when you have a structure like that, it's no longer an event. Because the event used to be, if you missed it, you had to watch reruns. Or if somebody else is using the VCR or whatever was happening, once we had digital cable and the means to pause and halt and record everything, we no longer had to be in front of the TV at any given time. And the only thing, when people stopped watching those shows in that manner, they replaced them with the only thing that could always hold ratings. And that's like sports and everything else. Or they'll put their lowest rated shows on there, or they'll put game shows on there, like The Wall or things like that. It's just I don't think you can get TGIF back because I think the technology and the audiences don't go for that anymore. It's good while it lasted, though. Rule Urkel. Yeah, you had the WB channel when they were actually trying to make money. They weren't making any, but and UPN and them started getting deals, and that's why I knew they were both going to collapse, because I couldn't watch Star Trek Voyager in Vegas because UPN couldn't get picked up by the network here or by the channels here. So I had to wait to watch it in repeats on WB, and all of a sudden, all these syndication deals started happening between UPN, which is Paramount, Viacom, and WB, which is obviously Warner Brothers. And then they said, you know what, we both suck. Let's join each other and make one money losing company called the CW. And that's what they did. Oh, I love Stargate. SG1, the movie. I was willing to wait and give SG Universe a time, and they pulled the plug on that mainly because Sci-Fi Channel was losing its balls at that point and becoming something else. But they were another one. They were another one in the late 90s, from Farscape and Lex in the late 90s and all the way up till about 2011, 2012, when Sci-Fi Channel basically decided to devour itself. So yeah, you had several networks on Friday. But that was another thing, though, that changed, because then you had once we all had digital cable, the basic cable had the Sci-Fi Channel on it. But once digital cable became the norm, and you didn't have anything, you didn't have the choice, and everybody had BBC America, then you watched Doctor Who and all that other stuff on there. So yeah, sucked. Yeah, UPN was channel 13, and then it got here in LA. That's where it was. Here in Vegas, it was a different channel all its own. But yeah, that's where you would watch Star Trek, because UPN was where, and I remember going to the premiere of Star Trek Enterprise. They had a movie premiere of it, and we went down there to see it. Okay, whenever Force says, okay, hear me out, I probably shouldn't even bring up the fucking comment, but I'm going to do it at my own risk. Hear me out. This is my original idea. This is getting worse by the word. You heard it here first. Streaming would remove the option of pause, fast forward and rewind. Once you press play, only record it purchase movies. When you plan to watch a movie, it better be locked in. They kind of do that now, because sometimes when you watch a movie, it doesn't give you the option. Like when I watch shit on demand, it doesn't give you the option to fast forward. But I don't know. That's once again, you're taking the option out of the customer's hands. I don't know if that would work. Yeah, I don't think that will work, because that's the main thing. The reason why the customer goes somewhere is to give them freedom and flexibility. Yeah, same thing. I mean, like if I'm watching Batman Begins and then that movie puts me to sleep, then I got to start over again. All right, guys, I think that's for a No Topic Tuesday. We should have had some topics. Most of them annoyed the crap out of me, but now I'll go watch the C-SPAN thing and see the other 99% of the thing that's actually relevant, like the actual questions and answers that actually will lead to something. The hell. That's it. Anybody got anything else?
That in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's online. It's online. But like I said, you got C-SPAN. You can actually click on C-SPAN. You can, and just watch it on TV. But I'm gonna watch it because, like I said, I mean, I'm tired of this merger. But it seems what's left. It seems that we're close to the finish line. The vote should happen next month, the month either March or April. They said they were going to be ready in March.
I wonder what sternly worded letter David Ellison's going to have for that.
I want it to happen so I don't have to hear from him anymore. The only time I want to hear from David Ellison is what are you doing with Star Trek? What are your plans? I heard you're doing some kind of new shit. I don't care about that. You need to do Star Trek Legacy or whatever you want to call what came after Picard season 3. I don't want to hear anything else. I don't want to hear any other ideas. I want that group on an Enterprise G announced at Comic-Con. Guess what, Dave? You can even show up. You'll give yourself, other than the billions of money that you kind of like hide under with your old man, people would actually like you now. If you gave them that Star Trek show, Dave, people would be like, damn. All this other stuff that you've been doing, you know what? Nobody's going to forget it, but nobody will care. You give them Star Trek Enterprise G, man, you listen, you're talking to your fan right here. Might have you up on the show only to talk about Star Trek. Nothing else. But yeah, other than that, I think it's time for David Ellison. Yeah, it's time. I'm tired of him. He's like the comedian that just kept on coming out on the stage, even after he got booed. And even after the clown, they sent out the clown with the gong and the hook to take him off stage. And he snuck in the back way and is still trying to tell jokes. It's like, come on, it's over with. All right.
He's still getting tomatoes thrown at him.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, that's it, guys. Tomorrow I am going to be off from the streaming, but I will be at, watch AEW, Aaron, watch AEW Dynamite, or, you might see the Bolt on TV because I will be in the audience. I will be in the studio audience tomorrow for AEW Dynamite. 4 hours of wrestling because they're filming Dynamite and Collision, which is actually a pretty good show. And it's at the Palm. It's just, wow, it's a beautiful venue for wrestling. But I have opted not to take my belts because they're too heavy, and the chances of me meeting somebody that I can get an autograph from is going to be slim tomorrow, and they're heavy. So I'm just going to be there. I do believe, if I'm not correct, there might be a fat burger inside the Palms. In fact, I think there is. And you know what? Through StreamYard, through Cox Cable, any of the other bullshit I've had to deal with this week, I think I deserve a fat burger. And you know who would agree? Fat Burger, because when I told myself I had deserved one and posted it, they agreed. Fat Burger, if you're watching, you guys make millions and millions of dollars. It wouldn't hurt you to send a burger my way when I'm on the air. Could you imagine? Nice. Could you imagine it getting here? It getting here, and me unwrapping it on air. Hell, I'll even get a scale, and we can weigh it on air so people can know, the world can know, at least people watching me will know that they're getting their money's worth when they order something from you. I think you guys should sponsor me. Despite Brad's stupid ass jokes, I think you guys should sponsor me. You make millions. One burger. Triple King.
Aaron.
no less than 2 pounds. And I'll eat it on the air. I'm not a big fan of eating on the air. I think it's kind of nasty, but I'll take a bite out of it on the air. I will take a bite out of it on the air. I will sniff it on the air. I will do all the things. I will do the measurements on the air. You will get new people coming to you once they see me eating that burger. I think every Saturday night and have the delivery guy come to it, and we'll pause the show. It doesn't matter what we're doing, what we're talking about. We will pause the show. I'll play music while I'm handed that bag. Fat Burger, I think you should sponsor the show. The best commercial you'll have. Come on, do it. All right, just thinking how big a fat burger is making my stomach hurt. Oh, it's making mine feel empty. Oh my goodness. In fact, I think it's tomorrow night's tonight. Wrestling and a fat burger. That, if you know what, the last time, Aaron, you were there. I think the last time I had a fat burger was when we were watching. Me and Aaron were watching Wrestle Kingdom 2:00 in the morning on a Saturday/Sunday morning. I was in heaven. I had everything I needed. I was rich then. So, yeah, I mean, let's have a global expansion. I don't know what they'll be putting in those burgers, but hey, I'm on the other continent. All right, guys, that's it. I will see you via pictures and stuff tomorrow. Check out my social media. You'll see me, wrestling rings. You'll see me with a fat burger. But until then, Thursday night, we will go over the Monarch trailer. I didn't have it queued up tonight. We will talk about some of the stuff. It's New Comic Wednesdays tomorrow, and I'll have my merchandise with me. So we're going to go over some new stuff then. And then Friday night, I did my Patreon stream. I'm going to do my YouTube stream this Friday. And we may or may not do a watch party on Saturday. I'm not sure. But I know Super Bowl Sunday, I'm going to be watching the Super Bowl. So I'm either going to have you guys watching it with me so we can watch the commercials, or I'll figure it out. But I might as well stream. I mean, I'm watching it. It doesn't affect my watchability. So, all right, cool. All right, I saw somebody cooking. Oh, wow, that's mean. I'm not even going to repeat that. All right, I'm out of here. See, oh, wait, hold on. I gotta prep my anger. I gotta get pre-angry because I don't know what's gonna happen when I push the outro anymore. It's 50-50 now. It's literally 50-50. 1, 2, 3, goodbye.